Jeff Bezos and Amazon announce a new plan to show on screen at time of purchase whether your product is negatively affected by the Trump tariffs. Is this to humiliate President Trump, or will it make buying American products easier? Has the U.S. military been secretly using trillions of dollars to build underground bases to prepare for nuclear fallout? Plus, former First Lady Michelle Obama spews some of the most unfounded, hypocritical Trump hate I've seen in a very long time. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's go ahead and jump into the news. President Trump signed an executive order requiring commercial truck drivers in the United States to prove that they can speak and understand the English language. The order stated, every day truckers perform the demands and dangerous work of transporting the nation's goods to businesses, customers, and communities safely, reliably, and efficiently. They should be able to read and understand traffic signs, communicate with traffic safety, border patrol, agricultural checkpoints, and cargo weight limit station officers. Drivers need to provide feedback to their employers and customers and receive related directions in English. Now, this directly reverses a 2016 policy under President Barack Obama that eased these rules. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy backed President Trump, pointing the data shows that language barriers contribute to more trucking accidents. Meanwhile, supporters say this policy will protect Americans and American jobs, while people that hate Trump say this is racism and xenophobia. Let me know your thoughts. I personally like the idea of people being able to speak English, especially if they're transporting stuff that could cause accidents or be an issue. But let me know your thoughts. All right. Now, in a troubling report, a Wall Street journalism report revealed that Facebook, Meta, their AI chatbots across Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp have been sexually engaging in role play with underage teenagers. The Wall Street Journal tested this by running hundreds of conversations through accounts posing as users of different ages. They discovered that the Facebook AI and user-made bots often took part in inappropriate sexual chats with people as young as age 14. Some bots use fake voices from celebrity John Cena, describe graphic sexual scenes and experiences. Internal reports have already warned that Meta's safeguards are weak and that AI could produce harmful content even when users list their age as young teenagers. Now, Meta downplayed the situation, saying it's not as bad as it's being reported. However, these AI bots are having sexual conversations with young teenagers about their body, what they want to do to them, role playing, romance, sexual fetishes. It's really, really weird. I wanted to bring that to your attention, number one, so that you can protect your children and grandchildren. And number two, like, come on, Facebook, you got to do better, Mark Zuckerberg. All right, now staying on the topic of AI, the U.S. House overwhelmingly passed in a 409-2 vote the Take It Down Act, making it a federal crime to share sexual images or videos on the internet to get revenge against a former partner. During a roundtable discussion on the bill, First Lady Melania Trump voiced her support, stating, "I'm here with you today with a common goal: to protect our youth from online harm. The widespread presence of abusive behavior in the digital domain affects the daily lives of our children, families, and communities. Addressing this issue is essential for fostering a safe and supportive environment for young people." So the bill targets both real and digitally altered sexual content, including deepfakes that falsely depict in explicit scenarios somebody doing something with their face attached to it. Now, offenders could face fines or even prison time, This is all about protecting people's dignity. The bill will now move to the Senate. We'll see if the Senate cares as much about protecting people as the House of Representatives does. All right, on to the big story. Did Jeff Bezos and Amazon just betray President Trump after kissing his butt after the presidential election? I want to walk you through this big story, and I'll try to show you both sides of it. Amazon reportedly plans to display tariff costs on product listings, and it has ignited a firestorm with Jeff Bezos at the center of debate over President Trump's trade policies. So is this Jeff Bezos and Amazon trying to have influence on pricing, or is this about humiliating President Trump? The move, highlighted by conservative commentator Benny Johnson, is seen by critics as a deliberate attempt to shame Trump by showcasing price increases linked to tariffs, particularly those levied against the country of China. Now, these tariffs impact 70% of Amazon's China-sourced products and has led to increases on thousands of items with an average increase of about 30%. So is Amazon doing this in order to shame the president so that they can get more cheap crap from China? Is it just to embarrass him? Is it to try to make him back down from the tariffs? This transparency seeks to humiliate Trump by making consumers aware of the price increase based off of tariffs. Now, according to a new poll by AP Norc, half of Americans fear that there could be a recession. And many of them say, wait a minute, we want prices to come down or stay the same. Now, on the opposite side, supporters argue this visibility benefits consumers by spotlighting tariff-free American-made goods or goods from preferred trade partners like India or South Korea or Vietnam, where tariff deals are close to being done. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt emphasized this, urging Americans to buy America first and bolster domestic manufacturing. This policy could incentivize purchases that support American workers and therefore be a good thing, or force even more onshoring, which creates more American jobs. But let me show you what Karoline Leavitt had to say at the White House today.
I will take this since I just got off the phone with the president about Amazon's announcement. This is a hostile and political act by Amazon. Why didn't Amazon do this when the Biden administration hiked inflation to the highest level in 40 years? And I would also add that it's not a surprise because, as Reuters recently wrote, Amazon has partnered with a Chinese propaganda arm. So this is another reason why Americans should buy American. It's another reason why we are onshoring critical supply chains here at home to shore up our own critical supply chain and boost our own manufacturing here.
Is Jeff Bezos still a Trump supporter?
Look, I will not speak to the president's relationships with Jeff Bezos, but I will tell you that this is certainly a hostile and political action by Amazon. And Secretary, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, I would also add that the bringing down the terrible Biden inflation has been a priority for the first 100 days of the Trump administration, and President Trump has done a great job of leading that since January 20th. Interest rates.
All right, so as you can see, the White House believes that this is aimed at helping China, that Amazon has specifically spent hundreds of millions of dollars working with consulting firms in China on how to get more Amazon China products on Amazon to be sold here in the United States of America. So I thought that what Karoline Leavitt said was really interesting. We saw the highest inflation in 100 years, 30 to 100 to 200% increases, high gas prices. Why wasn't Amazon highlighting this under Biden? Why is it that they only point out negative stuff if your name is Donald J. Trump? So this is political bias. But again, could it backfire and actually make people go, oh, well, wait a minute. If this is $20 and this stuff from China is $30, I'm just going to go ahead and buy this stuff made in America or from one of our preferred partners because I don't have to do the tariffs. So it could end up benefiting because people are going to have to either build in America, or on the other side, consumers can just say, oh, now I can easily tell where this comes from. I'm going to buy American-made goods. Now, let me know in the comments, is this good or bad? I'm trying to show both sides of the story, but I definitely want to hear from you. But again, your life became significantly more expensive under Biden versus Trump, yet they only highlight when stuff could potentially get more expensive under President Trump. All right. So I just wanted to point that out. I want to point something else out to you. Now, this is two doctors. One of them is a Harvard scientist with a cool new discovery. Let me roll that tape for you.
Done to show that the flavonols in cocoa stimulate stem cells to come out of your bone marrow like bees in a beehive in your bloodstream, and they go out and they find wherever it needs to be repaired. If it's in your heart, they'll fix it. If it's in your liver, they'll fix it. If it's in your skin, they'll fix it. And so we can eat foods like high flavanol cocoa in order to be able to actually get the stem cells to work a little bit better. Now, how do we know this actually works in people? Well, clinical studies have been done with high flavanol cocoa to show that in like men who are in their 60s with heart disease, they could actually just have 2 cups of dark chocolate hot cocoa a day for a month. Yeah. And they doubled the amount of stem cells in their bloodstream, and their circulation improved measurably. And then what's even more important and impressive is that there was a study called the Cosmos study that was completed recently that showed that eating high flavanol cocoa decreases the risk of cardiovascular death. Yeah. Right, over a period
like
of
a statin.
Like a statin, right. Exactly. Except made with by eating the same thing that you use to make chocolate. So we're not telling people to go out to have chocolate, which is a confection, which has got a lot of sugar and all kinds of other stuff in it. Yeah. But it's the stuff underneath it, the core of it.
All right, now isn't that amazing? These clinical studies from this Harvard scientist, they're saying, wait a minute, we can actually improve your circulation, and we can almost double the amount of stem cells that can repair your heart, your lungs, your bones, your ligaments, everything, just by getting these flavonols from dark chocolate. So this is specifically harvested dark chocolate. Flavonols are the good stuff found in the cocoa bean, but they're usually destroyed during the chocolate making process, just as that scientist said. That's why Black Forest Supplements made the first high flavanol cocoa powder. It's only 20 calories and it's packed with everything your body needs. So with that 20 calories and the good stuff from the cocoa bean, you can mix that into chocolate, into a shake, into whatever you want, and it will help those stem cells come out of your body like bees from a beehive. This boost of natural stem cell production doesn't have to be pricey. I've done stem cells. It's thousands and thousands of dollars. In fact, at the most recent Golden Globes, they were handing out $40,000 stem cell facelifts. You don't have to spend that kind of money to get the benefits of stem cells. So I use this to boost my energy, clear my mind, get rid of the brain fog. Now, men, this is something that you should absolutely want. And I want to show you guys how to save money on this. So right now, you can save 40% by going to blackforestsupplements.com/Steve, or just snap the QR code. I want you guys to save money and learn about this incredible thing. It really is amazing. And stem cells are just one of those incredible modern mysteries that could actually make you healthier. All right, now I have some unsettling news to share with you. Former Bush administrator Katherine Austin Fit claims that since the 1990s, the government has been secretly diverting trillions of dollars of unaccounted taxpayer money to build underground bases. Let me go ahead and show you what she has to say.
The underground base
and city infrastructure and transportation system that's been built. And
I'm sorry?
yes. So we have built an extraordinary number of underground bases and supposedly transportation systems. Some of these are documented as part of the national security infrastructure. I think there are many more.
In the United States?
In the United States, on all over the world. From 2021 to 2023, I took one of the smartest subscribers in the Slayer Report network, and he and I spent 2 years collecting all the data and all the allegations on underground bases. We systematically went through and tried to estimate our guess, this is totally a guess, of how many underground bases, both underground in the United States, but also underground under the ocean around the United States. And our estimate was 170 with the transportation network connecting them.
And what would be the purpose?
If you thought you were going to get a near extinction event,
a near extinction event. All right. What do you guys think about this? Do you believe her? Do you think that this is true? This is Katherine Austin Fit at the highest level of government under President George W. Bush. I don't know. We know that there's a lot of money missing from the Pentagon, trillions of unaccounted dollars, right? Remember right before 9/11, the day before, Rumsfeld said, we can't account for $2 trillion. Since then, the Pentagon has failed over 7 different audits. I don't know. Something's really weird. All right. Speaking of past government people, former First Lady Michelle Obama shares some of the wackiest ideas I've ever heard on a podcast. They are unfounded. They are hypocritical. They are designed to create fake rage. And she says that Black Americans are in danger of white people and also the Trump government because of what they're doing to illegal immigrants. Let's go ahead and roll this together.
We couldn't walk around saying valedictorian, straight A student, speaks excellent, has excellent diction if you give them a chance.
Mm-hmm.
We knew very early on that no one was going to see beyond the color of our skin at an early age. And that could get you in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about that fear, I'm sure that fear has been tested across your life in so many different places. And I wonder, what would you say has been the most hardest recent test of that fear? Because it's not one of those fears that you kind of get over and it just goes away. It kind of shows its head in many different ways, I imagine.
Well, in this current climate for me, it's, what's happening to immigrants, so it's not the fear for myself anymore. I drive around in a 4-car motorcade with a police escort. I'm Michelle Obama. I do still worry about my daughters in the world, even though they are somewhat recognizable. So my fears are for what I know is happening out there in streets all over the city. And now that we have leadership that is sort of indiscriminately determining who belongs and who doesn't, and we know that those decisions aren't being made with courts and with due process, and that it's being made like this cop that pulled my brother over when he was 12. You don't look like somebody that belongs. I can determine just by looking at you that you're a good person or you're not a good person. And knowing that there's so much bias and so much racism and so much ignorance that fuels those kind of choices, I worry for people of color all over this country. And I don't know that we will have the advocates to protect everybody. And that frightens me. It keeps me up at night. And I know that I see that when I'm driving around LA, I'm just looking in the faces of folks who could be victim. And I'm wondering, how are you feeling? How do you feel standing on the bus stop? How do you feel comfortable going to work, going to school, when you know that there could be people out here judging you and who could upend your life in a second? That's who I worry for right now.
Okay, so former First Lady Michelle Obama continues to claim that America is extremely racist, that it's a horrible place to live, but she's okay because she's one of the richest Black women in America. but she just worries because of what Trump is doing to these illegal immigrants. Okay, so your husband deported 5.2 million immigrants out of the United States. Over 3 million of those illegals, right? The rest self-deported. So what are you talking about? Trump has only deported 100,000 people. If anything, MAGA conservative voters that voted for this are agitated that he's not deporting them fast enough. Now she's saying that Black Americans are in danger because of what Trump is doing to illegal immigrants. This is crazy. This is crazy. And what she's really saying is that she's terrified that white people are just going to randomly attack Black people at a bus stop. So I don't believe her when she says, oh, when I'm being driven around in LA and I see someone at a bus stop, I can't sleep at night worrying about their life. I don't buy it, right? Like, Black on Black crime is worse than white on Black crime. White on white crime is worse than Black on white crime. Asian on Asian crime. So you're more likely to be killed by somebody that looks like you than someone who doesn't look like you. But now, in an attempt to smear President Trump and make everybody afraid of racism and the United States being this awful, awful place to live, she's saying she's worried for people of color because people of color are part of the group that is being deported by President Trump. Look in the mirror. Your husband deported over 5 million people. I don't know. I see it as hypocrisy. I understand that there's discrimination and that there's racism, but America's a pretty great place. Don't believe me? Go live somewhere else. I did. I saw it with my own eyes. All right, now, as public trust in Congress has declined due to previous funny business, a new proposal, well, it's an old one that's come back up. Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri has reintroduced the Pelosi Act, preventing elected leaders from owning securities and investments. Basically, he's trying to stop insider trading. Members of Congress are becoming multi-millionaires, deca-millionaires, 100-millionaires because of insider trading. He's saying it's okay to invest and grow. You shouldn't get behind because you choose to serve as a public servant. But as a public servant, you should not be able to do insider trading. You should have a blind trust. So I don't know. Did you know that it's next to impossible to become a decamillionaire? Yes, there's millionaires out there, mostly because of real estate. But to become a decamillionaire is really, really hard. Guess where most decamillionaires are being made right now? The halls of Congress. It's crazy. All right, now switching gears to international news. Vladimir Putin has announced a 72-hour ceasefire with Ukraine. Why? Because he wants to celebrate the 80th anniversary of Russia defeating Nazi Germany and taking out Hitler. That's right. The United States played a large part in freeing the concentration camps. But when it comes to destroying the Nazi army, Russia is the one that put up the most bodies and ultimately took out the Eastern Front of World War II. So they celebrate this every year. They're very proud. They lost 24 million people in World War II. America lost 400,000. Now, that's too many. This war should have never happened, but it did. So he's calling on a ceasefire for those 72 hours. All right, that's my update for today. As I know more, I will come on and share more with you. I apologize if I sound nasally. I do have a mild cold, which I plan to get over very, very quickly. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. If you could, give this video a like, hit that subscribe button,